Consider with me this. There is a divine echo that whispers within every heart. Indeed, that every soul carries with it the echo of an intrinsic intimacy, an original echo that is brought forth through time from original source, a primal source, where we are all one, where love has no limit and freedom has no barrier. And we carry the essence of this original echo as a talisman of our divinity and a reminder of the vast belonging we are part of, because it is who we are. We belong to one another. Consider that this divine echo, the one that I carry, the ones you each carry, are in constant recognition of each other. When we are harmonious with each other, the recognition alights us with positive, light, joyful, and peaceful feelings. Whereas the negative, sad, fearful, or angry emotions we feel about each other are a result of the echo noticing the disharmony with oneness. The Celtic spiritual tradition has a phrase that identifies this sense of oneness. It is called Anam, Cara, soul friends. More than words, it is a concept imbued with deep meaning, derived from the understanding of the soul as a divine echo. Consider that each of our souls have a signature resonance that radiates throughout and around our physical bodies. And that when we come into contact with others, especially our Anam Cara, an awakening takes place, an awareness of the connection. In our modern day, some romanticize this feeling and create limits around its capacity, suggesting only one other person on this entire planet could be your Anam Cara, a soulmate, singular. But the embodiment of Anam Cara is much more far-reaching than that. Anam Cara is a blessing we all have access to and can share with each other. When you have found the most sacred place of belonging, where your inner light recognizes and is recognized by those in your company, you have found home. When you have found the most sacred place of belonging, where your inner light recognizes and is recognized by those in your company, you have found home. And it is here that Anam Cara resides. It is here that Anam Cara can be explored. And it is also here that Anam Cara can be challenged and will be. For it is within our most intimate relationships that our deep bonds are formed. And to experience intimacy, one must be vulnerable. And to be vulnerable in the midst of others who are as imperfectly perfect as we are, we risk being hurt. But we also open to being nurtured and healed. I ask you to consider that while we may know things about each other, it does not mean we know each other. Yes, while we may know things about each other, it does not mean we know each other. Opening to Anam Cara gives us the opportunity to know each other. Anam Cara, soul friends. Consider that this divine echo is your touchstone and our reminder that we are indeed Anam Cara, and our promise that we are blessings to each other. My friend and colleague, the Reverend Ian Whitemar, tells us that when you bless someone, everything in your life changes. Some here may be familiar with the words of philosopher and poet John O'Donohue in his friendship blessing, where he says, "May you be blessed with good friends. May you learn to be a good friend to yourself. May you be able to journey to that place in your soul where there is great love, warmth, feeling, and forgiveness. May this change you. May it transfigure that which is negative, distant, or cold in you. May you be brought into the real passion, kinship, and affinity of belonging. May you treasure your friends. May you be good to them, and may you be there for them. May they bring you all the blessing, challenges, truth, and light that you need for this journey. May you never be isolated. May you always be in the gentle nest of belonging with your Anam, Cara. Throughout time, many have spoken about the priceless value of friendship and of friendship's complexities. Ralph Waldo Emerson asserted, "I do not wish to treat friendships daintily, but with roughest courage. When they are real, they are not glass threads or frostwork, but the solidest thing we know." Aristotle spoke of the highest kind of friendship being one of virtue, the kind of friendship where you are friends with someone because of the kind of person he or she is. That is, because of his or her virtues. Now, in Aristotle's day, virtues would have meant ethics. Within the realm of our mutual faith traditions, we would be speaking of shared values and principles and our guidelines, how we live into them. Here it would be your Bible. Aristotle spoke too of the partnership of friendships, the idea of the virtuous friend as another self, joined as in the echo of divinity. Friends holding mirrors up to one another so they have access to see themselves and each other more fully, and in doing so improving the quality of the people they are, and in doing that enhance the quality of the friendships they share. Helen Schuckman, in relaying A Course in Miracles, also refers to the mirror of friendships. She says, "Your sibling is the mirror in which you see the image of yourself." She urges us to seek to recognize our spiritual siblings, both as means for salvation and as mechanism of blessing and being blessed. She affirms this: "You will not see the light until you offer it to your siblings. As they take it from your hands, so you will recognize it as your own." Helen declares that when we meet anyone, to remember it is a holy encounter. She says, as you see them, your sibling, you will see yourself. As you treat them, you will treat yourself. As you think of them, you will think of yourself. Never forget this, she says, for in them you will find yourself or lose yourself. She continues by explaining, wherever two children of God meet, they are given another chance at salvation. She says, do not leave anyone without giving salvation to them and receiving it for yourself. In other words, your Anam Cara is always there with you in remembrance of you. Poet and author David White takes this theme to an even deeper level, suggesting friendship is not only a mirror to presence, but a testament to forgiveness. He says, friendship not only helps us see ourselves through another's eyes, but can be sustained over the years only with someone who has repeatedly forgiven us for our trespasses, as we must find it in ourselves to forgive them in turn. A friend knows our difficulties and shadows and remains in sight. A companion to our vulnerabilities more than our triumphs when we are under the strange illusion that we do not need them. An undercurrent of real friendship is a blessing exactly because its elemental form is rediscovered again and again through understanding and mercy. All friendships of any length are based on a continued mutual forgiveness without tolerance and mercy all friendships die. David White says, friendship is a merited grace, one that requires of us the unrelenting commitment of being present with and bearing witness to one another over and over. It is within the sacred space of this deep dynamic of friendship that we not only know things about each other, but where we really know each other. Ian White-Maher, my friend whose words I shared already, revealing to us that when we bless someone, everything in our life changes. He also talks about our deep need for empathetic witness, the kind of seeing and being seen that only happens in the close circles of family, of community, of relationships. That's right, in our Anam, Cara friendships. In the Buddhist tradition, this kind of friendship is called the noble friend, Kalyana Mitra. Kalyana Mitra, noble friends, have no pretense between them. They witness in empathy and in action, with clear communication, and by gentle strength, confronting each other with our blind spots. Friendships at this level are able to navigate challenges and heal wounds, for they are willing to negotiate beyond the awkwardness and uncertainties that are paramount when our vulnerabilities are exposed. It requires humility as well to be open to seeing through another's experience what we are unable to perceive on our own. It requires grace to accept this sight without defensiveness. It requires grace to offer this sight without judgment. To be present with each other in this way is a testament of trust and the embodiment of faith. And faith is certainly needed when we shine the gentle light of the soul on our wounds. We are a wounded gift to each other, but a beloved gift nonetheless. David White speaks about the benefit of this depth of friendship, saying, the ultimate touchstone of friendship is witness. The privilege of having been seen by someone and the equal privilege of being granted the sight of the essence of another, and to have walked with them and to have believed in them, and sometimes just to have accompanied them on a journey impossible to accomplish alone. Some believe it's the hard times that make us stronger. I believe it's the good we are wrapped up in while facing hard times that help us carry broken pieces. The love of our family or chosen family, our friends, our community, these are what make us stronger, keep us whole, and keep us moving forward. This good is the beloved community we all seek to create and to belong to. As faith communities, how do we become accessible to facilitating the nurturing of that kind of friendship? Author Anne Lamott has some advice for us where we could see ourselves as a lighthouse. She points out that lighthouses don't go running all over an island looking for boats to save. They just stand there, shining. Every day that this congregation opens its doors, in person and online, it stands as a lighthouse, shining, beckoning those who would be saved from the heartaches of the world into its loving embrace, beckoning our siblings, our Anam, Cara, home. Anne, in her book, Small Victories, Spotting Improbable Moments of Grace, has a chapter containing her essay about, quote, the Book of Welcome. Her essay could well be the outline for a liturgical midrash that attempts to fill in the spaces left blank in the Hebrew scriptures, as often her writing does. In the Book of Welcome, Anne imagines a Bible book that was never written, She speaks of scriptures that would provide a set of guidances and assurances and principles that would create a sense of security and belonging for Earth's residents. She writes, the Book of Welcome would have taught us that power and signs of status can't save us, that welcome, both offering and receiving, is our source of safety. Various chapters and verses of this book would remind us that we are wanted and even occasionally delighted in, despite the unfortunate truth that we are greedy, grabby, self-referential, indulgent, overly judgmental, and often hysterical. Anne's words. In her version, we would be accepted for our gifts and our apparent flaws. Too many times our Bible is interpreted otherwise. So this book would declare it unequivocally. We are welcome because we belong to each other. Anne asserts that somehow that book went missing. She ponders by saying, perhaps the editorial board of bishops pored over the canonical list from Jerusalem and Alexandria. They arbitrarily nixed the book that states unequivocally that you are wanted, even rejoiced in. She says we have to write that book ourselves, and I say we have to write that book together. And we do write that book together with every encounter of welcome we share. We write the book of welcome every time we acknowledge the echo of divinity in our hearts and in our Anam, Cara. As congregations, we write the book of welcome every time we gather together in response to our members' needs, hopes, and dreams. And we write the book of welcome every time we answer the call to invite and greet new ones into our spiritual family. You write that book of welcome every time you unite in the name of this congregation and your faith tradition and evangelize in response to the calls of unity and justice and love. You write the book of welcome together every time you open the doors to this congregation and invite people in. A blessing for this congregation. May this house of worship be blessed. May this congregation be loving to each other. May your doors remain open to welcoming the stranger, seeking spiritual solace and inspiration. May you deepen your friendships in trust and in faith. May you find peace and create peaceableness as you live into your shared and personal truths. May you be joyful and thoughtful. May you be a light of grace and a beacon of welcome to the world. And may you remember that we belong to each other. Amen.